I got a good dad joke for the day.
You're going to start us with a dad joke today instead of ending with a
just for
dad?
the cold open.
This is the beginning. Okay.
This is okay.
No,
Let's try.
all right.
Format switch here, listener.
Let's hear it.
How much room is needed for fungi to grow?
Boy. You tell me.
As much room as possible.
Welcome.
Welcome to SmartLess.
SmartLess.
Yeah, Sean, you have any opening bits?
I do have something to share. What happened today?
Consult your sheet.
I have no sheets.
Really?
I have no sheets.
You give no sheet?
I give no sheet.
I don't give no sheet.
But first of all, Jason, you are, I can't wait for you to come visit, but you are so lucky, Jason. Today in London and tomorrow, it's like
The hottest.
no exaggeration, like 100 degrees.
Right.
It's
And then the
unbelievable.
day I
and
get
then
there,
you get there, it's 72.
I literally just looked at that on the way to this little
You're
podcast.
so lucky. It's
Now, how many
brutal.
days are you guys are you spending over there with Sean in London?
Sean?
Just three.
Just three.
I love that Jason doesn't even know.
I know.
No, I go where I'm fucking told. In fact, I'm waiting for my wife to help give me notes on packing. Yeah, you know.
Does she make you a list of what you should pack like you're 10?
Well, she tries, but her big move always is to just kind of walk up behind me while I'm starting to pack and say pleasantly, "Hey, would you like some help?" And I say, "No, I'm set, thank you, I got it." And then she'll just stand there and she'll watch me. I say, "I don't need any help." No, I know. I'm just checking. And then she'll just start to like lob, quote, suggestions. And so she ends up packing and controlling.
What is she worried about, do you think? Is she worried that you're not going to have the right thing for the right sitch?
I don't think she's ever worried about anything. I think just her happy place is having just kind of like a hand on all
Sorry,
things.
hand on things. Sorry.
Yeah. You both know this better than I do. She talks to both of you more than she talks to me.
That's true. That's true.
So,
Yeah, this is true.
I actually know more about your trip than you do. I think.
Yes. So tell me, when am I leaving?
I don't know. I know you're leaving
Tomorrow?
No, tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. How do you feel about it, Jason? Do you get excited about traveling? Or
No,
are you like, ugh?
I can't stand it. I don't understand the concept of leaving the nest that you have deliberately created with all your favorite things to the extent you can get them right around you and in the right spot.
I'm super excited to see you too. Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, but like the concept of leaving a place that you're comfortable to go to a place that's completely foreign to you. I get the whole cultural reach and
well, because
and
there's
expose
nothing to
yourself
do here.
other things. But
I mean, there's tons of stuff to do here. No, there's tons of stuff to do in London, but not in this house.
This is what
this is
what makes you. This is kind of should feed your brain and feed your soul and go to different places and see different things from. Look, I don't want to get into it, but it's kind of the problem with America a little bit.
Listen, East Hampton, tell us about what fucking.
I go to Sag Harbor. I was there this morning.
Can I do? Were you really?
I rode my bike to the hardware store. I fixed
Wait, you
my
rode
bike.
your bike from East Hampton to Sag Harbor?
No, I did not. I didn't do that. It was too hot.
Stretch.
That sounds
It was
fun,
too hot.
though.
But I felt very chory today. Like I rode my bike into town. I talked to some police officers, said hi to them. They were dealing with an issue. Apparently, there was a dog issue. I'm not kidding.
Was a dog stuck in a tree?
No, like somebody complaining that somebody else had left their dog outside, but it was in a sunny area and was mad and called the East Hampton police. And then
There's
they had
not
an
proper
argument.
shade for this animal.
Yeah. And these cops were so diplomatic about it because they're just like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? So they were nice about it.
What would that be like getting no shade, pun intended, being thrown on Hampton cops, but when you decide you want to be a police officer, what is that? Like, do you say, "Oh, I want to be a police officer in the Hamptons" because you love the town, or because you just don't want the heat, you don't want the nonsense, you don't want a lot of crime?
I think a lot of them a lot of the officers I've talked to are local, like grew up here. And I got to say, honestly, to a person, every one of them that I've ever talked to and met has been super, super nice. And
Well, that's not shocking.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they've been
Yeah,
really,
it's a
really
great
nice. And
place.
and that's kind of the consensus. They're super responsive, and imagine the personalities they have to deal with out here. Just imagine.
and they're trying to nab those little girls running lemonade stands that are skimming, right? They got to watch out for them. Like what's their beat?
Skimming.
Their beat is they do everything. You know, they deal with a lot of. Unfortunately, there are a lot of issues that happen here. People come on vacation here, so a lot of people feel like no rules. A lot of people drink and drive, which is a terrible thing. It's my worst. Honestly, if not to get too dark, but the thing I like, the sound I like the least is the sound of obviously an ambulance at night, and you'll hear it late at night, because especially if it was somewhere way down the way at the end of the island, and that that there's been some terrible accident. You read about it in the local paper the next day, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking. It's
that's terrible.
Absolutely heartbreaking. It breaks my heart. So
It's such a small town. Everybody knows everything.
yeah, and but also just like because people feel like, oh well, I'm just gonna have 4 glasses of wine and get behind the wheel of my fucking Rolls or whatever, and it's sad. It's really, really sad. But also,
has there been festivities for the Big Jaws anniversary out there? Isn't that where they supposedly shot the film?
No, that was Martha's Vineyard, though. Well, that's close, though, right?
Right.
But I did see a couple days ago a whale breach about 100 yards off the beach. It was unbelievable.
Wait, does that mean jump up and slam down to a belly flop?
Yeah, a massive, just.
Are you sure that wasn't fill in the blank joke here?
Yeah, I mean, what fat person you want to take a run at, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, who?
Go ahead. You can fill in the blank.
God bless, no. Oh, God. But I did have something.
Sean, you talk about
today.
breaching every time you have Sloppy Joe, don't you? You always like when you're making a run for it.
Yeah, I sure do.
We got a breach!
Wait, but I do have a really quick medical thing. Or do you want me to wait till later?
No, give us some of your coffee chat stuff.
So today, because I'm not feeling well, and so I woke with a sore throat, whatever. But so I went to the
Wait,
doctor.
maybe there's something wrong with your CPAP.
No, I didn't bring it.
What?
I didn't bring my
What?
CPAP.
Truly?
I know. Truly.
Wait, I don't understand. Hold on a second. Don't you?
Because I'm going to sleep on my side, or I sleep up now. I don't want to. I can't deal with it.
And what do you do? Just get like duct taped into position?
Hey, but wait! I've seen a commercial for a guy. He's in a CPAP.
Let's lock him up.
It's downtime. There's a guy that's in like a circle, like a support group for CPAP dudes, and they're all wearing different flavors of CPAPs, and they come
What are
to
you talking
him,
about?
and he's just got a clicker. He's got
What
a
are you
clicker.
talking about?
Is yours flavored?
He's just got a clicker in his hand, and he doesn't have to wear the hose. And so, what is that? Have you looked into that?
No, I'm not. I have no idea what you just said.
Dude, looks pretty great, and you can avoid the duct tape.
Anyway,
I like the
whatever.
idea, Sean, that you have it flavored, like a watermelon flavor. You know what I mean? Just like a little mist.
Well, that would make it better. Anyway,
Anyway,
you can hear how
so
low my voice is.
So you're sick.
Well,
you're not-
so I go to this doctor at this place, and that was recommended. She was fantastic, and so I go in, and it must be an English thing. I go in, she's like, "Okay, take your clothes off," and Scotty's sitting there with me, and I was like, "Sorry," and she goes, "Well, I got to check you out," and I was like,
wait, sorry.
"You want to just take my shirt off?"
This is for CPAPing.
No, this is just I have a sore throat.
Sore throat.
This is just like she just wanted to check me out.
Sore throat after one night. You go to the doctor.
Well, because they're going to go in the other way to make sure that it's not that it hasn't gone. They got to make sure both ends are.
Does this person have an office, or is it something with wheels?
This is in the park. Sorry, one more time.
Carry on.
It's next to the ice cream truck. So I go in there, and she needed to check me out because I'm a new patient, right, in England, right? And she was great.
Sure.
So I go in there. She asked me I go, "You want me to take my shirt off?" She's like, "Yeah." And I go, "My pants too?" She goes, "Yeah." So I was like, "This is so weird." And so I lay down flat.
Luckily, it's just a drawstring at all times. So keep going.
So I laid down,
Yep.
and she's she's the tap on the thing and the tap on the chest and everything. She's checking my thing, and then
She's fully clothed right now, right?
She's totally fully clothed.
Okay.
She lifts up my underwear and just goes, "All right, I just need to check out testicles." And she grabs my balls, and I was
Wait,
like,
under your underwear. She doesn't.
"Yes." She grabs them with her bare hands, and I was like,
Wow.
"What?"
Was she
And it
able to see through the dust?
Did she snap a glove on at least?
I don't remember. I think she had gloves
Sure.
on.
You went into a blackout.
Yeah, I did. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't
And
believe
so,
it.
what was the prognosis?
No,
Straight.
everything's fine. I'm on antibiotics.
Oh, Scotty, heartbroken.
I'm straight. Yeah, that's the prognosis.
So just a sore throat, you'll be fine?
Yeah, I'm on antibiotics now.
I mean,
Wow.
okay.
What did you have to feel my balls?
story.
For? Anyway, go ahead. I was just thought that was really odd. Like I've never had a
Hey,
doctor
Jay,
do
listen,
that
you got something to look forward to tomorrow night. You're going to get a sore throat when you get to London.
I'll be doctor. I'll play the doctor.
Yeah, did you get?
Oh, you know the drill now, so don't be surprised.
Yeah, did you get like a bulk visit type of thing? Is there a punch card that I can use one of those? You know,
Sure,
one of your
yeah.
free visits?
Yeah, I'm actually going tomorrow again.
All right. Guys, today our guest.
Oh, it's Jason's
go.
guest.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Today our guest is an actor, a comedian, a radio host, and a pioneer in podcasting. In fact, without him, we wouldn't be here. Having released over 1,600 episodes, 600 million downloads
Marc
during a
Maron.
16-year run, he has decided to put
Marc
it to
Maron.
rest and move it on to the next.
WTF.
Here to tell us how he did it and hopefully how we can suck a little bit less is the GOAT himself, Mr. Will.
Marc Maron.
Mark and Maron.
Please, Mark, reveal yourself. So we didn't need to send you a microphone, is that
When
right?
you said we wouldn't be here without, I was like, it's Marc Maron.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
not
true.
Dax Shepard, although
No.
we appreciate.
You mean Dax Shepard Maron?
Yeah.
Wait, you're the dad? We found him.
On
Yeah.
some level, I'm the dad, yeah.
Yeah. You are the dad
Marc.
and the goat.
Yes, yeah.
This is awesome. This is
I
real
did. I'm
awesome.
using my own microphone, but thank you for sending me the one I'll never use. I
Did we
appreciate
really
that.
send you one?
Yeah, they sent me when they were panicked, I guess. They were like, no. Mark doesn't seem to know what he's doing.
Well, they heard you were done with your podcast, so they sent
Yeah,
another.
so they sent me one of these,
Of all
which I'll
people.
give to
Yeah.
another
Hey,
podcaster.
Bennett, Rob, turn your mics on. What are you
here.
doing? Why are you sending a
Why did
microphone
you send one to Marc
Maron?
Maron?
We were
the matter
given
with-
misinformation.
It's like sending a hockey stick to Wayne Gretzky. Like, what are you doing?
When I got it, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? What am I gonna?" I guess I'll use this.
You know what it is? It's our start gift.
I appreciate it. I was surprised. We used to send them out during COVID, but we weren't as generous. We'd put them in a self. You could send it
Return.
back to us when you were done using it.
Sure. Well, we're just silly over here.
Well, no, it's been great. I was listening to the opening. It's exploring the dark side of luxury problems.
Oh yeah, super relatable.
That's what we are. Yeah.
We try to stay as unrelatable as possible, and I think we're doing swimmingly.
Exciting medical story. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It reminded me
So
of
many.
like when I was coming up as a comic, you always had to do morning radio. And you'd be sitting there, waiting for a break before you'd go in with this morning crew, just figuring out a way in, hearing what they're talking about
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
panicking. Like, I got a story on that. I'm going to start with that.
Right. That is the thing that I worry about with this silly thing, whatever we're fucking doing, is that
No, you're
it's
doing
too,
good.
but it's like morning zoo or whatever, like whack. Even when we get into the questions and the stuff, like I don't want to be like a guy who's like obnoxious and always just waiting for
that
an answer
ship
that
has
I can make
sailed.
fun
Yeah,
of.
that
man.
ship has sailed.
Right.
Sorry, buddy.
It's supposed to be a conversation, not
Well,
a
no,
fucking
but-
morning
but
zoo.
I
We
think
can't
that's
help
what
it.
the medium has sort of birthed.
I
Just
know.
100,000 mediocre afternoon drive time radio hosts. I mean,
Right. It's
Yeah.
true.
anytime I scroll on my phone on Instagram Reels, it's like 3 or 4 white guys talking about the last time they shit their pants as adults.
Yeah.
That's us.
I listen to that. I listen to that.
Mark, talk to
True.
I know.
True.
In fact, I think I've told that story. Maybe it's either on yours or on Dax's. But wait, talk to us about that. Like, can you reflect? And we'll probably ask you a few times during this about that. Like, what you started is obviously it's an enormous business and path to employment for a lot of folks nowadays. So we collectively can thank you for that. But how do you feel that are you proud of this sort of industry that you've kind
Or
of
is there blood on
created?
your hands?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think. Well, it's once you create the bomb, you kind of wash your hands of it. Like,
Yeah.
You're Oppenheimer, man. You're Robert Oppenheimer. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's morphed away from something that was really, this 1 hour conversation or longer. That, I mean, obviously Rogan still does that. Dax does it, but it's
they do like
it's-
3 hours. Jesus,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know who's
hard
watching
to-
that shit. But
it's hard to do that really well.
well,
And of course, Howard.
I don't think that there was a single way to do this. The only thing that I know in terms of starting it the way I did it specifically the only way really I knew how, and the way that my emotions guided me to do it. And when we started it, there was no real podcast medium. There was a few of them around. It had been around a while. And the way I did it, the way it evolved, was just my style and kind of this idea of candid, authentic, vulnerable interviews.
Yeah.
I think it created a zone through which some people could do that. But I mean, it got more interesting when people were doing, full-scale radio shows or crime shows or multi-mic'd, guys. It was never, there was never a format other than a mic. So because I did it the way I did it, even when you guys, or at least two of you, sorry, Sean, I'm sorry.
Just pile on.
But, when people were coming to my house, it was like, where am I? What neighborhood is this? What are we doing? Is there a camera? And it was really, there was nothing binding me to any sort of style or context. But I think because of the reason my timing was good cosmically for once in my life, that it took off. So this was one way to do it. And I think if anything, my particular way of doing it made a lot of people think, like, if that idiot can do it, I'm getting mics. So there was that.
But also you have to. Well, first of all, you brought up. I mean, you're a comic and you've been a comic for a long time. You've been doing it, at the highest level for a long time. So you know what you're doing. You're a funny dude, and you have to be able to move it along. We're lucky it took three of us to do what you did by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess, but the one thing that I was excited about was I wasn't beholden to that. I'd done some time on radio, and once I learned how to talk on a mic by myself for long periods of time, that was a pretty big breakthrough. So that kind of served me in the podcast realm. But a lot of my monologues are not really funny. They're pretty honest, and they're pretty visceral, and they are directly related to my life, and it gets deeper and sometimes than others. But I wasn't beholden to comedy. So what it really became was engaging with a person without a real plan to see if we could get a conversation going and figure out where we met in terms of our issues, our problems, our lives, and whatnot. So what I was really sort of hoping for was connection. And that's really what I think made what I do kind of different.
Yeah.
That there is no
But
sense
you did
of,
so many firsts. I remember a couple of things that stick out that I remember. I remember hearing, before I listened to, hearing that you got Obama on was really huge. I remember everybody was freaking out about it. Like, that was the first time somebody had done something like that, gotten a president to come on the thing. And then you did the live shows too, of which I did one of them actually in Brooklyn at the Bell as well. And in addition to the going to your house. And that was like, I was like, I remember you getting the call saying, like, Mark's doing this thing at the Bell, this live in the pie. I was like, what could that be?
well, it was different.
And it was different. It was cool. I was like, oh, okay.
But the reason for that really was, Obama was later, but the live ones, there was no way to make money doing this, at the beginning. There was literally no way. I mean, advertisers weren't forthcoming. We were using kind of old terrestrial radio middlemen to get like sex toy ads and Audible. Right. Our first ads were like Adam and Eve. You'd get a free package of God knows what. Yeah. And we had this other advertiser from an older show we did, Just Coffee, but there was no way to generate income. And unless you wanted to sort of do a, kind of pay to listen kind of thing, but then you wouldn't build an audience. So the live shows were things we did separately, and we created a different website so people would pay for them. There's no way to make money. So the live shows were kind of an income generating thing. I mean, at the beginning of this thing, at my old house, we were just doing a tiered donation thing. This was before, what's that platform where everyone, you get paid on?
GoFundMe or
well, not GoFundMe. The other one where you have a site where people can pay, whatever. Everyone has them.
Patreon, OnlyFans?
Yeah, Patreon. So there was no Patreon.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, we just offered tiered donations. And if you gave a certain amount of money, I'd send you a T-shirt and some stickers. And my house was filled with 1,000 envelopes, stuffing T-shirts, because there's no way to make money.
Oh my God, I remember that. I remember your assistant there working at a table just fucking stuffing envelopes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Wow.
It was crazy. But the Obama thing, that was a whole other thing. But I think
that was crazy.
In terms of the medium, that kind of put it on the map.
Yes.
It kind of validated.
And how did that come about?
Legitimized it.
And that was a result of your numbers being such that his team took notice of you and recommended to him that this might be a good spot for him to hit?
I don't know if it was numbers per se as much as it was profile, and I think that really it came down to then that there was a fan in the Oval Office. I mean, an intern. I don't know who it was.
Got it.
Right.
But they thought it would be good. It was his last year, second term. You know, he didn't want to be a lame duck, I don't think, and he thought it would be, or someone in his world thought it would be a good look to kind of do this. And I remember when my producer Brendan McDonald was like, Obama wants to come on. And I'm like, so what? I'm going to the White House, and he said, no, he's coming to Highland Park. I'm like, that's fucking crazy.
Dude, walk us through that process. I always wanted to know that, like this, because we had the opportunity of doing it with Biden.
yeah.
But what was that like? But we went to him and we went through all the
Right.
protocols and stuff.
Sure.
What was that like? Them coming to your neighborhood, to your house, with the
Completely
president?
unsecured.
It was crazy. Well, at first, I had a trip planned, and I rarely take vacations. So I told my producer, I'm like, I don't know, I'm supposed to go to Hawaii. He goes, no, you're not going anywhere. So, well, the thing was, the first things we had to think about was the way we do the show, which is not a political show. I mean, I can do that, but we had both of us had come out of Air America, and from the beginning of the podcast, we were like, we're not doing a political show because I don't want to carry that water. You can't really do politics with your own voice because you'll eventually end up just carrying whatever load it is of talking points for whatever party you're affiliated with. But
Right.
But the thing was, we got to make it a personal interview. He did go to college down the street, at least for a couple of years. He knows the neighborhood, and we had to really structure it more than we do.
Which college did he go to around Highland Park?
Yeah, at Occidental.
Oh, right.
So, we had to...
so not on purpose.
No, we had to structure it in a way.
That was for Sean. Occidental.
Sean loves that stuff.
Sorry,
Right,
sorry, Mark. Low-hanging fruit is still fruit for me. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
You can throw the baby
Okay.
some candy every once in a while.
We'll be right back.
And now back to the show.
So they come 2 weeks before and they strip search you
Well,
every
here's
hour?
what happened. So I end up going to Hawaii and reading his book. And in the meantime, Brendan, who is in Brooklyn generally, flew out to meet the Secret Service to create a perimeter. And so you get all these Secret Service guys at the house, and apparently, Brendan was in the garage, and he had a couple of guys on the roof jumping on it to figure out whether they could, post guys up there. And Brendan was like, "No, it's coming down."
Wow.
So
Wow.
I had to ask my retired neighbor if we could put snipers on his roof, and it was like the greatest thing that ever happened to him. He was thrilled to be involved. But the sort of the day of the one thing that was scary is they'd put some sort of weird humming black box in the one spare bedroom.
Yes.
That was a small house, if you remember. It was like less than 1,000 square feet
Do
with
you remember
one
the black?
toilet.
I remember the black box too, guys. Remember when we tried to put
What are
our
you
coffee on
talking
it?
about?
I don't
And
remember.
they said,
I don't
"Don't touch
remember.
that thing."
Why?
Didn't
Why?
Rob
What is it?
remember when we were at the
What is
What
it?
it is, it's like if all communications break down, that thing has a line into some sort of, secret satellite network. Right.
Oh, I see. Wow.
So they got to put that in, and that was kind of the most menacing thing. And I remember, the day of. Wow. So the day of, there was like at least 15, Secret Service people, and then we'd set up tables on the deck there. It was my biggest fear was that house had one toilet, and I'm like, where's he going to go to the bathroom? What if someone needs to go to the bathroom? I got to clean the whatever. So we set up a table with listening stations for the White House people, for Brendan, for whoever else needed them. So there was like 4 or 5 sets of headphones out there. And the amazing thing about Obama that there was no pre-interview. We didn't have to get any approval of any questions. He was completely confident and lucid, and he knew he knew what he was getting into. But the funny thing is that the Secret Service is coming in with the dogs, and I got these cats, and I'm like, hey, is there any way you can skip the house? I got cats. I'm going to put them in the bedroom, but you trust me enough to leave the cats in the bedroom? Now, they said yes, and they let me off the hook, but I don't know if that's going to get them in trouble, but I think they're probably out of the game anyways. But anyway... So we're waiting now. We're all in a waiting position. My producer, he wore a sports jacket. He's very proper
Good for
dude.
him.
Yeah, and all the Secret Service is there, and I'm waiting on outside. And I say, how are we going to know they're coming? And we'll give you a heads up when he's 20 minutes out. So what he was doing, he was flying from Beverly Hills in the Air Force 2 or whatever, the helicopter, to the Rose Bowl to park there, which is about 10 minutes from my house. So they're like, well, that's better than stopping traffic in the entire fucking city of LA.
Right.
Yeah.
So They said
To
they'll
go
tell
to
me.
Marc's garage.
Yeah, exactly. They cleared the street of all cars. And some neighbors were pissed. A couple,
Sure.
the Republicans were pissed, but
Yeah.
the rational people were like, "This is great. They're going to line the streets." So they said 20 minutes out, we'll tell you. But then all of a sudden, we see the helicopter. There's two Ospreys that kind of fly in front of the helicopter, and we could see him in the sky. I'm like, all right, well, he's close. So I'm just waiting at the gate, and the motorcade pulls up, and there's this flurry of people coming up my driveway. I don't even see Obama, and then I see him, and he's in the middle of this crowd. He waves like, Mark. And I'm like, Mr. President, and he walks up and he's like, are we going to have a good time? I'm like, I don't know. But then, we go into the garage. They only had one Secret Service guy, at the door behind me. They had some sort of flak mat. That was another weird item that they actually left, and I had to get back to them. That kind of like if there's an attack or something, it kind of pops up and protects him.
Wow.
But it was all, it was intense. And I just we had to cover some politics up front because there were things unfolding. But then it was a fairly standard WTF interview. And the funniest part about it was when he sat down, I said, so you nervous? And he said, something like, if I was nervous about this, we'd all be in trouble.
Yeah. He was pretty forthcoming, though, yeah?
Yeah,
forthcoming enough. He's a genuine person. What he was very, very disarming and very candid seeming and willing and thoughtful. But what's interesting is that it was better to do a personal interview with him because he is kind of wonky. And if you get into politics, it can get a little long. And we only had an hour.
Yeah.
So we were able to kind of do it. And then for some reason he chose, I'm sure very deliberately, to say the N-word on my show. And that
really,
in relation to he was like, racism isn't over just because you can't say the N-word, and he said it. So that got a flurry of international news. So I had to deal with news crews in front of my house. But
there aren't enough T-shirts and stickers to handle that.
Yeah, no. But my producer was very calculating in terms of the press we did. He's a very smart guy. We didn't engage with any of them. We just did Chris Hayes and we did Terry Gross, and that was it. And I don't hear from Obama at all. He's got my number, but I feel weird texting him.
But look, the fact that you were able to book him says a lot about the spirit and the content of your show. But your ability to get him to do a personal interview and to get him to be forthcoming really speaks to sort of, I think, what makes you so great at what you do. And are you comfortable trying to maybe kind of speak to that and maybe dissect that a little bit? Because, this 1 hour conversation, there needed to be at some point a confidence from you about me just freestyling and then having somebody sit down and me just kind of pop back and forth with them and have a conversation as opposed to being an investigative journalist needs to be compelling, and I need to assume that that's going to be entertaining. What made you think that your hot takes on things and your personal kind of the way in which you can drive a conversation would be something really compelling? Because it is.
Yeah,
and
what gave you the right
and
to think you could do this, Mark?
But like, when did that happen for you? Just because I know you've spoken in the past about whatever the right words would be about, your degrees of social comfort and what fuels your stand-up and your cynicism and stuff, which I share with you. Like, a lot of that doesn't lend itself to being a conversationalist. Do you know what I mean?
I think how it evolved is that, I am, innately and almost immediately codependent with any personality that sits in front of me. So it's just by virtue of my upbringing, I don't know what. But there was the way it sort of started, and this is one of the reasons why, we're winding it down, is that, I'm kind of all in no matter what I do. My stand-up is provocative and personal and sometimes a little cringy, and just my basic demeanor in terms of what I want to talk about and what I feel comfortable talking about and my need to connect with people is sort of ingrained in me, and I'm willing to volunteer a lot of myself. And I think that the conversations in the beginning, I was literally having comedians over to apologize to them. So for being a dick or whatever I thought my issues were, or whether they were mad at me. So the style unfolded with me trying to get resolution and make amends and this and that. And also, I think the way I characterize it is generally the first 100 episodes were me having celebrities over to talk about my problems. Yeah. So that became a way. It's very disarming when you offer yourself.
Yeah, when you pull your pants down, it's everybody feels kind of safe and like, okay, so I guess we're going to be honest.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you pull your pants down, everybody feels safe.
Yeah. And confident. Yeah.
But so that's how it sort of evolved, and it's a need for me because I don't, like, my preparation is just getting a broad view of who people are, what they've done. And, it's evolved over time in terms of how I handle certain interviews. Yeah. If somebody has an amazing, if there's an older person with a large bulk of work, I'll forego the really personal stuff to really talk about the work. But it all gets mixed in.
Well, let me ask you: has it changed the way you? I'll ask all of you guys, and I don't know if I have an answer.
You can say all y'all.
All y'all. Has it changed? I'll speak for myself first. I think that doing this over the last 5 years, which is just kind of odd to me.
Right, but think about that. We've only done 300 episodes. He's done 1,600.
No, I know.
Amazing. It's amazing.
But for sure. But for us, for the last 5 years, certainly for me, I can only speak for myself, that it has changed a little bit the way that I talk to people. I don't just mean people out in the world like, hey, I'm a fan. I mean just like people in general. It has, this has shaped a little bit how I interact with people to a certain degree. It is not the driving, but it has become a big part of who I am now, having these conversations and talking in this way for whatever reason, for better or for worse.
Well, it's interesting because you guys, are all actors, and part of that craft, from what I understand, about 90% of it is being present and listening. So whether you were used to doing that in your real life or not, who knows? But I mean, it is a tool that you all have to be present and listen.
That's applicable to this.
Yeah, and it's a real thing that because we're all kind of self-centered guys, and you kind of you want to get your word in, you want to you're kind of half listening, but once you start to engage your empathy and your ability to shut the fuck up, you find that it is the foundation of connection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that does change. I think that
I'm so afraid to talk now. Keep going.
No, you go.
No. I'm kidding.
No, you go.
But for me, it took a lot to do that. And some people still are sort of like, why don't you let the guests talk? And I'm like, because it's my show. So, and also, over years, you kind of, when someone's going into a public narrative. And some of those are deeper than you can imagine. There's ways that public people talk that, there's sometimes I know, like, well, I know this story has been told God knows how many times, but maybe my listeners, haven't heard it. But if it's something that I'm like, well, he's, or she's, kind of autopiloting here, I'll interrupt until I can get them off of that and get them into some other place.
Did you ever get that thing? Well, first of all, did you ever read comments to when you put stuff out on social, like to promote the show? Like
I try not to, but it's kind of addicting. I don't check the numbers. I don't know what when Twitter was, a viable thing, I would look at those and that would be upsetting. And it took me years to learn not to engage. I have an email.
I used to follow you on Twitter and you would sometimes engage and I would see the stuff that you would say.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. But would it change? Would it alter the way? Because I remember, I haven't looked in forever.
Sure, it expanded my self-consciousness, which is just what you need.
Exactly.
You take in just random bullshit trolling and you're like, that guy kind of nailed it. I got to be aware of that.
Yeah. Well, we used to have that. Exactly. And I used to have that early days. It would be like, and people I'm sure still do it. They're like, I wish Arnett would shut the fuck up. Why is he talking or why is he interrupting? And I'm like, well, by the way,
only thing
turn
you
it
can
off.
remember.
Turn it off.
And it's your show.
As opposed to like, honor Hawkwind 2's comments about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some guy with 4 followers in the UK. You're like, oh, geez, I got to reassess my whole life for some idiot sitting at a computer. Because
Exactly.
there is a sense for some reason, no matter how old you are, well, we're older, but you see one comment, on a social media platform, and some part of your brain goes, the entire internet thinks I suck.
Yeah,
and it's
right.
like one idiot.
Right.
But still, if it's a bad morning, you got to fight the urge.
Hey, so Marc, when you started WTF, you'd obviously had. I used to listen to you on Air America all the time, and you'd done a bunch of other things. What made you take us back to what the landscape was for the medium of podcasting? Like, what made you think that there was even money there, that there was an avenue there? What was?
I'm not a money guy. For better or for worse, I ended up with some, but it's never been my driving motivation. My motivation with comedy and with this has always been like, I want to be seen and heard because I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
So so
Right.
I am building a sense of self here, and I want you all to be involved. But at the beginning, Brendan and I, Air America collapsed. And we, I got pushed out, to LA, and I did an evening show that no one listened to for a while, but then it just went away. And, like at the same time, I was going through a kind of a miserable divorce. And there was a outreach from Air America. They're like, we want to pull you back in to do a streaming show. And this is before streaming. This is like 2007. No one knew what streaming was. Wow. So I'm like, fine. And I said, can you give me this amount of money so I can pay her off so I can, get my life back? So they gave me this money to pay her off. And then they gave me this job at Air America doing a streaming show with Sam Cedar that no one could really watch.
Sam Cedar.
Love Sam Cedar.
Yeah. And
I haven't seen him in so long anyway.
So it was me and Cedar doing this show that crapped out in a year, and we knew it would. And I was like devastated and heartbroken, so I was kind of useless. But we were at the studios at Air America, that version of it, which was a very kind of broken down version. And once our contract was up, they fired us, but we still had like 2 months on the contract. And being good liberals, they're like, well, you guys can use the offices, which is unheard of when you do a radio job. They usually like, don't let him near the mics, take away his card and get him out. But they didn't.
Janine Garofalo have a show on Air America as well?
Not then. No, that was the original one.
Okay,
but this was like, this was when they had like Montel Williams, and it was who's that other guy? Lionel, that weirdo. So, and we were just in this office doing a streaming show.
Yeah.
And so we're out of a job, and I said to Brendan, my producer, I said, look, man, there are these podcasts. There's a few of them. Corolla had moved his radio show into the podcast form, but it was really just a radio show. I think, who was around? Jimmy Pardo.
Ricky was doing one like Gervais was like every once in a while.
He was around, but there was only about 5 that had any profile, really, 5 or 6. It was pre-Rogan.
And it came, you could only find it on the Apple iPod itself, which is where it gets its name, podcasting, right?
Well, that's the thing is that, Apple at that time, I said to Brendan,
I didn't know that either.
Can you figure out how to do this? And maybe we should do it. And at that time, Apple just wanted anybody with a name to do them, and they'd get behind you because it's not a platform as much as it is just like it's not a server.
It was also it was part of the thing to like actually sell the hardware, the iPod itself. You could only get it on this new thing, this new device that they were launching.
That's right.
Wow.
So they kind of got behind us, and we were kind
That's
of
the
going,
first thing I've ever learned from Jason.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Wow.
It's all about that, dude. Same with Apple TV. It's like that's just about getting people to get Apple TV ultimately.
Buy hardware, yeah.
Wow. So we started, kind of going in after hours. We had cards. We knew the night tech, and we were bringing guests up the freight elevator. And it wasn't really the same show at the beginning, but it was all just sort of, I needed to keep doing something. I thought my comedy career was nowhere. I certainly wasn't acting. And after I didn't know what to do with my life. So it was kind of a Hail Mary, but there was no way to make money.
It must have been scary. Was it a scary time, or were you kind of comfortable with your set in life?
Well, I knew that for whatever reason I was good on these mics because I knew that, and Brendan knew that as well. That there was a way. Who knows why anyone's going to be good on these?
Right.
But there was a way I kind of approached it that was very sort of immediate and honest and sort of searching.
Did it feel like your last shot? I guess is my
Sure.
question.
Yeah. I mean, like I used to make a joke about it that I when I moved out to LA and I set the mics up in the garage, I was like, this is the same garage I thought about killing myself in.
Yeah.
But no, but I had no expectations. There was no money expectation. It was just me trying to do something. And then, through weird timing and just, trying to focus on building a social media presence, getting people who have that on the show. And then because the celebrity press had become kind of anemic, people were locking in because I was doing their job for them.
Right.
So Vulture was there.
What was the moment? What was the moment where you like looked at Brendan or looked at yourself and said, "Hey, we have something here.
We have some traffic on social media. People are listening to the show."
Well, that was starting to happen, because Vulture picked up on it pretty early. And then I think when we had, when I went up to the Bay Area to interview Robin Williams, there was a couple of pretty big shows. I mean, and we had, fairly big people social media wise, but I think the Robin interview, because it had never been done before, before that or after. I mean, when he passed, a lot of people were using pieces of that interview because it was a rare thing and it was hard to get him. And he was very protected and very insulated in terms of, how we were going to do it. And ultimately, I ended up driving up there. I did a lot of those kind of interviews early on where I'd talk in the car on the way. But when I got up there, it was just him in his house and an assistant. And I think that people didn't realize if Robin was in front of more than two people, or two at least, it was going to be a show.
Yeah.
So when it was just one guy and also a comic and also a guy willing to connect and talk, it was a completely different sort of Robin experience. But if there were one other person there, it would have been wrong because he would have just started jumping around and improvising. So I think that one really was a big interview in terms of people.
Because people were hearing a quality from him that they were not used to. And,
never.
Yeah.
It was quite. It was pretty insane, man.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
All right, back to the show.
And Mark, now that you've done it for so long, and I mean, it's so impressive. I think Jason said 1,600 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's become part of your identity and all you've done all these years, and now you're wrapping it up. Talk about that. Like, are you going to miss it? Are you going to think like, well, who am I now and what do I do? And
I think so. It's a weird thing with the ego. In terms of the world we live in and, what anyone considers relevance or irrelevance. Or I was talking to Owen Wilson the other day about it because I'm on that show with him. And we were talking about stopping the podcast. And he quoted some Salinger quote that was like, I don't have the courage to be, just unknown. or just an average person. But
That's interesting.
But I think like what's happening is, and the show has always really been about the arc of my life. On the base level, it's been about me and, and I talk to people. And I think at this point, because we put the amount of work we do, Brendan and I, it's just always been the two of us. And he's a very specific, very gifted audio producer. It takes a lot of time to put these shows together twice a week. And people, people don't know that. But, sometimes he'll spend like hours with an interview, kind of, finding a theme, trimming it, maybe moving things around. It's so funny how many people have listened to their interview and are like, God, I really nailed that thing. It's like, it took Brendan 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, we feel the same way about Robin Bennett and the guys Michael Terry who work with us. They do the same thing, and they're really good at it.
We got the best in the biz.
Let me answer that real quick, Will. Let me just answer Sean real quick.
Okay.
I apologize.
I'm known for interrupting, according to
me too.
The guy from England.
But the thing is like, I am nervous about the time, but but viewing it as a piece of work as opposed to content, and sort of really assessing the need to keep plowing along just because you can, was sort of a conversation. We got a deal with a platform, Acast, and that we were in that for years, and it kind of made us, the money that I think we deserved after working on it so long. And now that's coming to an end. And we were talking before that about winding it down. And our agreement has always been like, well, I'm going to go as long as you go. Whoever cries uncle first, then we'll just honor that. But the truth is, there comes a point with me, because of the way I do it, where maybe I'd like to have a little bit of a private life. Maybe I'd like to not worry about which pieces and bits of my life are past. I need to kind of bring up in order to satisfy what I do and the audience I've created.
That's interesting.
Who find a lot of comfort and a lot of I've helped a lot of people unknowingly, get sober, not commit suicide, deal with authoritarianism. There was. The way I do it, it was very comforting to a very specific audience. So there's part of me that thinks like, why I owe them. And they kind of live in your head, and that gets a little emotionally exhausting. So I think that by viewing it as a amazing piece of work, of 16 years of a thing that never diminished in its quality and always had the arc of me and always was always interesting and engaging every episode, that to sort of say, oh, we're done with this part of our lives, it kind of is good for the legacy of the thing, as opposed to being one of those people where it's like, is Maron still doing it? That's crazy. You don't want to be that guy.
Right.
Right.
But do you, like, what I was going to say was, when you hear like an athlete retires and they say you're going to miss the game. And what's funny is they always say, I'm going to miss the guys. I'm going to miss being in the locker room. I'm going to miss the people that I were, I don't know anything about your relationship with Brendan other than you've mentioned him a bunch, and he was obviously integral to your show. I mean, that relationship is now going to change. Have you guys talked about that, how that's going to shift?
Well, it's weird. I've been working with him since he was 24, and now he's 44.
Wow.
And, we met at Air America, and he was an associate producer. So, and the very odd thing about Brendan and I is that he's actually, part of my brain. Like, I do these interviews, and then I send them to him. And my memory of them is of whatever I remember that day, but he spends hours with all of them. So I rely on him to remember things. And also, he's a very brilliant guy, with politics and film. He's really the smartest guy I know. And he's a great producer because he helps me frame things that I'm thinking, which is usually intuitive, and then, he can give it depth. But over the years, it's always been a professional relationship. We're not really in each other's lives. He's more in mine because he hears me talk about it all the time. But we have, it's one of the only relationships where the boundaries are healthy. There's full respect there. We're 50-50 partners, and I don't lean on him for personal stuff unless it's really pressing. So, and we've never had a fight, since I've known him once. And it's just so that relationship, he'll be there for me if I need him, but he needs a break. But I just think, like, what you're saying is true, though. This show is it's a big part of my social life. It's a big part of my spiritual and soul life in terms of engaging with other humans who are creative humans and really talking about life, which I think is important to do in one's life. But I was doing it also as my job and outlet. I am going to miss that, and I imagine that I should really give a heads up to my two friends that it's going to be hard for them for a little while.
Do you feel that you're leaving Marc Maron in a better place than where you found him when you started?
Well, I hope so, because Marc Maron is going to be 62 years old in September, and I just did. It's weird, and I know you guys have got it. You guys seem to have probably a more expansive work ethic than I do, but I don't know. I just did a special, that's going to premiere on HBO August 1st, and it's really probably the best work I've done as a comic.
Oh, that's great.
I've done this thing for 16 years, and I'm very proud of that as a singular thing. And I wouldn't say I'm tired, but I'd like to see where I am without these responsibilities a little bit, or without them being pressing all the time. I don't know.
It is. It's an interesting thing. I mean, yeah, you mentioned the special on HBO, and you mentioned Stick with Owen, and and I love that film you were in that Justin Kurzel directed, The Order.
The Order,
was just incredible, and your career is.
Interesting.
It's not even ascendant. Ascendant doesn't sound. It doesn't sound as respectful as I mean it to be. But your things are great for you. So you probably there's a part of this while you're winding that down. It's almost because you might not even have time for it anymore, because
shifting.
Yeah, and also it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, like you're kind of allowing yourself to be a little bit more in a healthy way selfish with your life, and you're saying, well, I don't want to lend my personal life out anymore and monetize it. I want to keep my power inside and kind of enjoy being me. And I don't know. It sounds like a really healthy place that you're at.
That's where I'm trying to get. I don't know if panic will sit in. I'm not great alone. I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. You
got cats, Mark.
Yeah, I got a few cats, and that's a whole other thing, dude. I don't know what I'm going to do with Charlie, but anyway, I got a real fuck of a cat. So, and the hard thing about cats is, like, at least kids grow up. The cats are like, they're just going to be that. And there's no teaching it new things or anything. But yeah, I think that's true, Jason. I think that is ultimately what is happening. And as you get older, you give less fucks about certain things. Yeah. And the acting and that kind of stuff. The way I see it is that I do okay. I've been able to do everything I wanted to do only because I did this one thing on my own that got me out in the world. Yeah. And I've somehow managed to remain kind of under the radar. I don't have the weight of celebrity on me. I'm kind of chipping away. But
you're on top of the radar with those that I would imagine, respect, admire. The audience you've actually been shooting for, you have. And that I think is really admirable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, I try not to, like, I kind of know exactly who I am and what my, not so much shortcomings are, but there is an element, like, because I have friends who are big, stars in comedy or whatever, and there's always that little party. It's like, fuck, why am I not playing arenas? And it's just sort of like, dude, could you imagine the weirdness of doing what you do in an arena? I do a joke about it. I say, like, I think I could play one arena centrally located in the country somewhere, and I could bus my fans in. Buses for Maron leaving out of Whole Foods parking lots in these cities.
That's so funny.
But so I do know who I am, and I do know one of the reason I am who I am has something to do with some fears, but maybe those are good. Maybe those are self-protecting,
Yeah.
So now the question is, what's day to day? Like, what do you want to do? Like, if you had your druthers, if it was like, hey man, and which you kind of do, what's the deal? Is it wake up?
I'd like to try to figure out how to enjoy myself. I mean, you guys seem
what's the path to that? Are you going to like learn how to? Are you going to paint? Or are you going to learn how to surf?
Well, look, I do a lot of things. I've been playing guitar with people. I'm playing. I get together and sometimes I do music shows. I've found the courage to sing in front of people, and that's sort of daunting and interesting. But what I really like to learn how to do, and I don't know how to do it. Like when I act, I think I do okay with it.
You do. You're great.
Well, that's nice.
You are good.
And I just did an indie feature where I'm the lead, and I kind of manned up and pulled that off. We'll see if it gets out anywhere. But
nice.
But there's this thing.
Wait, is that the one with Judy Greer?
She's in it, but Lily Gladstone's in it. Sharon Stone,
awesome.
Alan Ruck.
Awesome.
Michael McKean.
That's called In Memoriam?
Yeah, dude. It's funny. And I watched a final cut, and let me ask you this, 2 questions about acting since we're here. When you watch yourself, are you always sort of like, fuck, like, why'd I could have, I mean, you can watch the whole movie, but some part of you is really focused on, like, why'd I do that with my eye?
I will say that the fact that you're doing that you're watching and you're being honest with yourself, and that will make you an incredible actor. I've learned so much from seeing how bad I am on things and adjusting for the next job.
But don't people say you're good though? Aren't they telling you that it's good?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
But
what
are we
they say.
right?
Yes, I'm saying you need to. I think you need to watch yourself. And there's so many talented actors that I work with that never watch themselves because they're afraid. They're afraid that they're bad. Yet they're so good. And I keep saying you're denying denying yourself like this great treat.
But Jason, I think that you have a unique ability. I really mean this, and I don't know if it's because you've been doing it since you were a little kid, so it's just so like ingrained in who you are. But you have a really good ability to separate and be objective. Mm-hmm. You really, really do. It's an honor. It's a great quality.
Yeah.
And so you're able to go and look at stuff, and now because you have that, because you direct, so your ability to be objective about your place in the story, understanding where you are, is, I think, unique. I don't think everybody has that.
I know. Just thinking about what Jason does, like with the directing and then with the act, like I'm getting anxiety thinking about his career. So, like, I can't even fucking wrap my brain around it. You know, like here's the question that is kind of eating at me. Is like, I was sitting with Judy at some junket for Stick because she's got a part in that too.
Oh, wow.
And she said to me, you know, the way you handled that character was very unique because most people would have went broad with it. And I said to her, I don't think I know how to go broad. And she goes, I don't think you do either. So some part of my brain is like, I got to figure out how to get broad. You know, how do I become a broad comic actor? I don't have it in me.
It's so funny. By the way, I was just thinking, I saw a video on social media this morning. Sean, I don't know who, I think the Play posted it, of you just playing piano.
Oh, yeah, I saw
within
that
the
too.
last couple of days.
Yeah, the Gershwin.
The Gershwin
stuff.
thing. And Sean's he's in London. He's about to do his show in the West End. Good Night, Oscar.
At the Tabasco or the...
At the...
barbecue.
At the barbecue, sorry.
At the... and you're, Sean, and you're just sitting down. You're playing. You're not playing in front of anybody. And you just start playing. And honest to God, and not to embarrass you, I thought, this fucking guy is so fucking talented.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And I thought,
nice.
like, I couldn't do that if you gave me a million tries.
You could.
And you know what I mean?
10 years.
And I was just thinking, like, God damn it. Like, what am I doing? I'm fixing my bike in the garage.
I'm going to order a piano on Amazon right now.
I literally went to get a new wrench at the hardware store and then rode back.
And couldn't figure out how to use it.
And was trying to get to raise my handlebars. And I'm like,
for a half hour before you called the guy to fix it, right?
No, I did it. I got the scars. I did it wrong, and then my seat kept going down. Anyway, and Sean's there making beautiful art, and I was like, oh, God damn it, you know?
That's really nice. I think we all have gifts, and we're all lucky enough to be able to share them.
Yeah, it is pretty great, Mark. You know, like you whatever your innate talent is, you have found a lane for it, a platform for it.
Right.
You know, a place to apply it, and doing such good for so many that listen to you. And I'm very happy for you that you are deciding to, you know, spend a little of that on yourself and reinvesting in, you know,
and leave on your on your terms. And also, and I reject the idea. Just before, I also reject the idea, and I know you say it because it's a kind of a funny one line, like, you know, that people you inspire that people thought, well, if Mark can do it, I can do it. That's not true at all. I think the opposite is true. I think that you inspired people to...
Oh, that's nice.
It's true. And you grew this medium, and so that dum-dums like us could do it. It's
and
true.
That your tone and your quality and your honesty and your vulnerability, it was a viable format.
I think the other thing I want to know is, like, because comedy. Look, I watched my new special and I like it. I have complete control of that craft, and it's the best work I've done. I know
that's great.
And with this thing, but with comedy and with podcasting, it's all driven improvisationally. It's all going to create itself in real time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with acting, that's different. So then all of a sudden you got a script and you make choices and all that stuff. But I don't know really where none of my imagination goes into creating fiction or creating things outside of myself. Everything I do is impulsive and comes from, you know, the need to connect. So I'm kind of curious, do I have creativity that is more disciplined that I can apply in another way? That's the big mystery. Can I apply my talents to something that isn't essentially Mark?
Have you ever sat down and written? Have you ever?
Yeah, I write every week.
Jokes?
I don't love writing. You know, it's exhausting. But I write a thing every week, but reflections that are sort of poetic, and I put that out into the world. And I've done the writing, but my comedy is sort of formed on stage and in real time until it sort of sets, and then I leave room for new things to happen. For like I did the special, and I usually start with like an hour and 45 minutes that I tour with for a year and a half. And then, 3 weeks before I got to shoot, I got to get it down to like 70 minutes and figure out what the callbacks are. And then I leave a little open space for things to drop in the days before or even that night. So it keeps it alive. And, but I'm very confident in that craft. And I'm very confident in this talking on the mic thing. But like with acting, or I've set in motion I'm going to direct a film based on my buddy Sam Lipsyte's book, and hopefully that'll happen. But that's a little daunting and scary. But I guess I'm not afraid to take the chances.
No, it sounds like it's. Of course, you've got creativity. What are you talking about? You're doing it all.
Yeah. In answer to what I think your question is about the application of what you heretofore have been doing, which is basically freestyling, improvising. You are coming first and then the words follow, right? That's you're writing for stand-up, you're freestyling on the microphone, your podcast. How do you apply that same level of accuracy, authenticity into something that is, by its own definition, pre-written, right? A movie, a script,
or outside of myself. Yeah.
How do you find that level of Marc Maron in acting? I will say that you are allowed, when you take on a character, to make that character simply just another part of who Marc Maron is. There are goalposts. You're far right, far left of who Marc Maron is, and then you just find whatever version that character is closest to you inside of those goalposts. So you're still being Marc Maron. It's just the words are written beforehand, and you got to find the version of you that fits those words. And so you're still kind of you're still exhibiting who you are, and should still be able to find some enjoyment from that.
I get that part where you kind of turn things off or turn things on within you. I get that with the acting. My question is, can I do something like if I direct, I don't have a vocabulary for that. I don't have a style. So that's completely outside of me, and I'm just going to have to figure out what that is. Could I?
You don't need to do that on the first one. Just exercise taste and just sit there and watch the results of other people's work and say yes to this, no to that, little more of this, little more of that. It is the one person on the set that doesn't have a job, so you don't really actually need to do anything. I'm not suggesting that's the right way to be a director, but I've worked with a million that work that way. It's very common. So you need not be overwhelmed with, I got to do a bunch of shit. Do a walk before you run and just sit there and just be the arbiter of taste,
Right. Okay. Well, I will do that.
Yeah,
and
you can do that. You've got great taste.
I've learned a lot from Jason today.
Yeah,
It's amazing. You got to be exhausted.
Who's this guy?
I'm starting my own podcast next week. I wanted to tell you guys about.
I'm listening to it. Are you kidding me? I can't wait. Holy shit. It took us 300 episodes to get through to you.
I've arrived.
Wait, if it wasn't for Mark, you know what I mean?
How about this? This is the first guest I've ever had that I didn't get to one single question. And we're already 6 minutes over 1 hour. So that is a testament to you, Mr. Marc Maron, knowing the gift of gab, knowing what you're doing, keeping the conversation going.
Can I share one story, though, for Sean?
Please.
Yes, please.
So, wait, Sean, are you still here?
Yep.
There he is.
I took a bathroom break. I'm back.
Well, he talked about the doctor that did the full examination for the sore throat. I went into one of my old guy physicals. I guess it was probably last year, and now for the prostate test, they only do the blood test, and
the finger's gone.
Right. Well, I didn't know that. So the guy said, I said, well, are we going to do the finger thing?
Not for me.
And then he says, no, we don't do that anymore. They do it with the blood. I'm like, well, is that effective? I mean, you find that the results? He's like, yeah, no, we just do the blood test. He says, I can do the other thing if you want. So I'm like, well, I would feel better.
$50 extra.
I would feel better if you did. So I requesed a finger bang from the doctor.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he did that.
He did, and my diagnosis is it's not clear.
He needed to go back
in. You said go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and toss a ring on too before you get in there?
He said he'd like to see you again next week.
Yeah. He's here
Marc,
now.
You're a little bit of a hypochondriac though, like I am a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
me
well,
too.
I grew up with a doctor father, so it was a real way to get attention. Like, I think I have cancer, so.
Right.
But yeah, I've got I got a handle on it. It doesn't happen as much, and when it does happen, it runs pretty deep. Like I can usually say like just wait a couple of days, it'll probably go away, that kind of stuff. But if I really lock into I think I have cancer, I'll go all the way through it, and I'll sit in my bed and just sweat.
Oh man, me too.
Anticipating the nothingness.
That's called intelligence and being creative. The ability to sort of like create these scenarios in your brain that are.
That's how I use my imagination. Just all driven by panic and fear. I'd really like to free it up.
You know who doesn't have panic? Dummies. Could be,
Yeah.
It takes a lot of intelligence to like create this like fucking.
I know, but don't they seem
scenario.
a little more happier than we are when they're not
do.
talking
Well, that's
about
blissful ignorance.
when they're not talking about QAnon?
But the happiness is not as profound. How about
No.
that?
That's
Okay,
right.
well, that's a projection, but hold on to it.
Mark, we love you and we thank
sure
you.
do.
And,
Yeah, incredible.
I just
You're the greatest.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, and you guys are doing great.
Thank you, man.
Well, thank you. You please keep on jamming, and will you consider at least maybe doing a special once a year or something? Just to
yeah.
And I don't mean the incredible
Podcast?
specials on podcast. Come back with
that's the other thing.
WTF and give people updates.
Well, I have to figure out. Like, I think there's other ways.
Maybe it's the podcast version of the Letterman show. You know what I mean? Where he does like
sure.
6
I
a year.
I could do that,
Yeah.
but then you're kind of like, who's, my producer and I don't really do much without him. But I think there is a world where I could at least maybe after a little time off, get on the mic once a week just to talk without people.
Yeah, there you go.
That might happen. I don't know.
We
Yeah.
want it. We need it. Please do it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks,
fellas.
Mark.
All right.
Thanks a
Best
lot,
of
you
luck
guys.
to you, my friend. Thanks for
Yeah.
doing
Thanks,
this.
Mark.
Take care, you guys. Good luck with
Thanks,
the show,
Mark.
Sean. Break a leg.
Thank you, pal. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye, Mark. Boy, that Mark Maron. I mean, like,
man.
So Willie, Sean, unfortunately, you never did a show, but Willie, doesn't it sort of, you just sit there, you listen to him, and he just kind of rocks you into this place of like,
it's really,
oh, I just want to tell you everything about me.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
well,
he's just
because
so
he's almost like a
charming and-
therapist.
Yeah, but without being solicitous, he's just
Right.
he just kind of goes first, and there's just like this nice quality.
Well,
to him.
he just starts talking, and you're just having a conversation. You forget that you're doing it, and all of a sudden you're telling him stuff that you haven't ever talked about in that way before.
Yeah, it's a really talk about gifts though. Like that's his gift is like, like it was very nice of you to say that, Willie, but like we all really do have gifts, and his gift is to just be able to constantly keep a conversation going, be interesting, never not be curious. He's always curious about every single person, and it's really an intelligent conversation. You get sucked in.
Yeah, I'm glad that at least he will always have his stand up to sort of just
yeah. I'm
be-
excited for his new stand-up special. That's going to be great.
Yeah. That is, he mentioned it earlier, but just to make sure, that's it's called Panicked, and it's going to be on HBO August 1st. And then it'll stream on the Max after that. But
Listen,
that's great.
I'm such a big fan of his.
Yeah, same here. He's always been such a good dude. And I figured, Sean, you mentioned the gifts, and he has that. And Jason, we talked about your gifts, and Sean, and you have your gifts, and I don't know.
What is
I
it?
wasn't given any gifts, but you know what? Hopefully, one day I'll be in a position where I'll be able to buy one.
That was pretty good. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
SmartLess.
SmartLess is 100% organic and artisanally handcrafted by Michael Grant Terry, Rob Armjarv, and Bennett Barbaco.
SmartLess.
Also, like I think is a big giver of juice. That's an awful sentence.
Yeah, we'll roll with it.
It's a big teat which squirts out the juice into our eyes.
Welcome to Blaze Arcade.
Hey, the holla and a ring around the collar. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Blaze Arcade. My name is Blay. My full legal name is Aaron Scott Blair. I bet you didn't know that, did you, Bruce?
We're giving that out.
With me, as always, Andrew. The juice is loose, Bruce. I got to come up with some other...
Back. Okay.
Bruce, he's on Bruce control.
I like
pretty
that
good,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We're talking about something really, really interesting and different today. And it starts with I am currently in the process of making my own video game. And it's going to be a long, arduous process. I'm under no illusions of that. But I love games. I love playing video games. I love thinking about them. I love game lore. I think some of the most exciting storytelling that's happening right now in entertainment is happening in indie games. There's one specific shout out I want to give. There's a game called Mixtape, which is basically like an interactive movie. It's really cool. Everybody check it out. And there's one thing, as I've been researching making this new game, I came upon this phrase, which is called game juice or game feel. And it was originally created in originally coined in an article, a Game Sutra article called "How to Prototype a Game in 7 Days." But it was made popular in this talk called "Juice It or Lose It." So it's a video on YouTube called "Juice It or Lose It." That was these two guys gave this talk at GDC. Talking about game juice. And what game juice is and stay with me here. What game juice is all the little bells and whistles that make a game fun to play. So, when you're running in a game, a little cloud of dust. Or if you're walking in a game, the camera bobs. Or if you get punched or shot, the camera shakes. Cameras shake. The coin, the gold coin sound in Super Mario when you hit a block. This is all game juice or game feel. And it's what makes a game really fun. And I was thinking, it's interesting when we think about movies and TV, and especially TV shows. When you're watching a TV show, you're with these characters for many, many, many hours. And, some of the shows I think could use a little game juice, could use a little juice to juice them up. So today, what we're talking about is what can we do to upscale or juice our favorite shows?
And so there's a little bit of like ASMRing with game juice, and like it's the feeling you get with these added extra elements. So if I'm playing Madden or college football, it's the people in the stands waving the college flag, or like,
and it's also the controller vibrating when you get hit,
and like a special dance after a touchdown.
That's
things
right.
like that.
All these things, these bells and whistles, add to this juice, adds to the game. And actually, sports is a really good example because I think sports do juice the best. When you're watching football, an example of juice in a show or in a program you're watching. When you're watching football, how they have on the field, they'll do like 3 yards to a first down. They'll put that arrow, or they'll do things like have stats of a character, and the guy, he always does that thing where like the quarterback, it's like, well, Tom Brady threw for, and then they show him, and he's like doing that awkward like turn around and smile to camera. That stuff, sports does juice the best, which makes sense because watching sports is the closest you can get to playing a game.
And it's the juice. It's not affecting the actual content or the game. It's all extra stuff that enhances the broadcast.
It's the frosting. So today we are coming up with juice for our favorite shows. Give us a call, 855-266-2604, or leave us a message on YouTube, on Team Coco's YouTube page about what juice you want to see in your shows. And I'm going to give you some examples of juice that are happening right now. The Bear is a great example.
Yes.
Okay. The Bear, very famous for, a lot of quick cuts, a lot of chopping on the beat of their needle drops, a lot of people arguing with each other, and this building of tension through editing and conversation. That's juice. You don't need to have that in The Bear. To tell those stories, you don't need to have that kind of editing, those kinds of close-up shots. Another great example, Hot Ones. Hot Ones is dripping with juice. Hot Ones is dripping with juice. Like when they show, they'll do a new hot sauce, and they're like, the Scoville level, and they cut to that, and it goes off the charts, and it's like, that whole thing. That is juice.
Going back to The Bear, the tightness or closeness of the kitchen, and they're turning corners, and now you're in the bakery dessert part, and now you're turned into the walk-in fridge, and now you're at the beef window. So like
also like I think sound design is a big giver of juice. That's an awful sentence.
Yeah, we'll roll with it.
It's a big teat which squirts out the juice into our eyes.
I mean, if you're going to talk like
ears.
Sound, and I go back to Taylor Sheridan, and one of the things
of course you do.
One of the things I think
I could put that phrase.
I'll work my way
in any episode we do.
I
go back to Taylor Sheridan,
to Landman, and one of the things I think that show does really, really well is, of course, Billy Bob's on a lot of long drives, and when he's not being berated by Allie Larder, his wife, you're hearing local radio.
Exactly, dude. That is a perfect example of juice in a show, is local radio, because really it sucks you into the world and it adds to the experience of watching that show.
And they're giving weather. So, like, oh, it's 95 degrees, hot as a whatever, no rain, crops are dried out.
Yes.
Or you're getting news from Midland, Texas being dropped in there. And then additionally, the added even more juice, I would say, is the songs that they then throw to, that the DJs go to, are like red dirt country, like perfect, like
boot and scoot and boogie.
It's awesome. So I think
B-double-R-U-N, beer run. Come on, man. I could pull this stuff out.
Why aren't you designing this the sound for that show?
Call me, Landman. I'm here for you. Great example of juice. Also, it's interesting. Juice can also be taking something away. So like in The Last of Us, a lot of times they won't have any music. And that, my friend, is scary.
Right. So
when
I'm
they
thinking,
take stuff away, that's horrifying because you're just waiting for something to happen.
Well, and with Last of Us in the last season, I think when they went into one of the warehouses and it gets silent and all you hear is this like scratching.
Yes.
And the characters are looking around, but it's
Yes.
completely silent
Yes.
during it. And it's just like, you're there.
Yeah, the clicking. Terrible. One more example I want to give is Spider Noir. Being able to watch it in color or being able to watch it in black and white. Great example of juice. I'm watching Spider Noir in black and white, and it just adds so much to the flavor of the show.
Spider Noir, it's on Prime.
It is on Prime, yes.
The juice of this show is the black and white version of it.
That's an example, of great juice. It's like they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to give us the option to watch in color or black and white.
Dumb question, but that is an example of taking something away. You literally take the color away.
Sure.
How does that add to? Does it add like an mystery or intrigue?
Yes. It again, juice is all about adding to the experience. Okay, adding to the overall experience in games, game feel, game juice, adding to the experience of putting you in the world of the game, making it fun to move around, making it fun to play the game. Same thing with TV and movies. It makes it more fun. It pulls you more into the world.
Okay.
And so my first example today of how I want to upscale a show, how I want to add some juice to a show, is Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And this counts for every property. Counts for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, House of the Dragon, the original Game of Thrones. I think a bit of juice that would make this show even better would be, much like the option to watch Spider Noir in color or black and white, I think you should be able to choose the soundtrack, which they have, which is like symphonic, cinematic, or death metal. I think you should be able to watch heavy metal in the soundtrack. Dude, can you fucking imagine a dragon fight? That would be so epic, dude.
It does make perfect sense in the Battle of the Gullet, which comes out this new season, to have death metal playing throughout that.
Hell yeah. Dude, oh my God, a dragon just torching just people. screaming, running, and just. And by the way, I will say this is why I love YouTube, and I love being a fan of stuff so much, and I love other fans. And a lot of times people do fan edits, and man, people have done. I'm sure there's fan edits out there where they've put heavy metal on Game of Thrones scenes, and it would absolutely rip.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm going with the two things I would do to improve the Game of Thrones like franchise.
Yeah.
First one, and my algorithm is like filled with this, is I need like up to the minute lineage updates of the characters.
Yes.
So somehow,
by the way, that's not even juice. That just feels like a necessity.
we
need family trees, dude.
Yeah, and granted, the family trees are messy on this show, and like that's part of it. But
lot of incest.
Yes, very stark incest scene on episode 2 of
Starks,
this.
I think, are the ones who maybe the only house that didn't all have sex with each other.
But I need kind of up to the minute, because there are. I think one of the criticisms that I might agree with is that there are so many characters in this show.
Yes.
And they've got names that are not modern time
and they're
names.
all kind of the same, like Rhaena, Rhaegar, Aina,
Aegon,
Aemon.
Darnell. Yeah, it's
crazy.
So I could use,
and also, sorry, go ahead.
I could just use a lineage breakdown of like, here's next in line.
Yes.
Here's where the Targaryens are. Here's Valyria, like all that sort of stuff could help make it a little bit clearer to me, as I am kind of continually lost at like, okay, whose child is this, and where are they in the line of the throne?
Yeah, I mean, who are their parents? Is it this guy? And the other thing too is, so I started watching House of the Dragon. I haven't seen any other season. I've just started this season.
Okay,
it's great. By the way, I will watch Matt Smith in anything. Loved him in Doctor Who. He was great in Morbius.
Yes,
like dude, he's great in everything, and he's great in House of the Dragon. And but I will say, to your point, I can't tell if when they say a name, if it's a person, if it's a dragon, or if it's a town. I honestly can't tell.
I think you are not alone in that.
I'm gonna go meet Aemon. I'm going to go meet Aemon, who's riding Aemon in Aemon. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is insane. It's craziness.
Yeah, I'm going to the Vale. Yeah,
I'm going to the.
What is that?
What are you talking about? So I agree, dude. I think. Here's what I think they should do. Taking a page from video games, they should add a little juice to Game of Thrones, where when you pause the show, it just brings up a family tree.
Right. Does it, like Amazon has something like X?
They do have the X-ray thing.
I need that.
But it
lineage.
Sucks, though. It sucks. It's not great. Like, the X-ray thing will kind of show you the actors who are in the scene and the characters, and they need to step it up. The X-ray, I will say, is a good idea. I would like to see them add to it, especially with Game of Thrones.
Now I need an additional picture-in-picture box for Game of Thrones with the map of where they are.
Right. That's also impossible.
That's something where I need to know where like all the main families are. Are they in Winterfell?
Yeah.
Where are the Riverlands?
Yes.
Where's Dorne? Like who's where? Like I need more info to really understand the breadth of what's going on.
And I think it would really add to the epicness of the show. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I think,
and that's the difference where A Night of the Seven Kingdoms was very small. It all took place at a jousting tournament.
Yeah.
And so you don't need that giant you're not building a world like you did with The Song of Fire and Ice and you are with House of the Dragon. Like that was a very small story. It was great. I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the second season. But I'm also loving House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
It's just there was one kind of dialogue between Matt Stone and Rhaenyra in
Is that a dragon or is that a town or two towns talking to each other?
The queen on the throne.
Yeah.
But Matt Stone's character,
Matt Smith.
Damon. Targaryen.
Demon Targaryen.
He mentions like 5 or 6 different lands that he wants Rhaenyra to conquer.
Right.
And I'm just like, I have no idea where these are.
Talking about,
like, show me where this stuff exists. And because you've built out this amazing world, I need more info.
Yes.
And I just need it like stationary, picture in picture. Give it to me on the bottom.
Yeah.
And like, show me where Vermithor is or whatever.
Is that a real place?
I think it's a dragon.
This is my point. Yeah, no, 100%. I think, information only helps if it has consequence. And I think if you're throwing in so much information without telling us, without context, then it has no consequence.
And it's also the consequence. We've talked about it in past episodes where you're now going 2 to 3 years between.
Oh, right. Don't even get me
seasons,
started with that.
and that's where, because we are blessed in this world of content. I've got like 8 or 9 different shows that I want to watch, and I'm trying to, and I'm Sunday nights I'm watching Game of Thrones, I'm watching The Agency during the week, but like I'm really excited to get back into Silo.
Yes.
It just came back, but like it's been a couple years. I need to know what's going on to fully understand the storyline. And like when you have stuff that takes place 2 or 3 years between seasons with the amount of content we have, it just gets lost.
The biggest juice should be just make shows come out every year.
Right.
That's the biggest way to improve every show, I think, where we're at. But yeah, man, I mean, Game of Thrones, again, I totally agree. I actually read the first 2.5 books and stopped for the exact reason we're talking about. I didn't understand the lineage. I didn't understand, it was too many characters to keep track of. And by the way, Lord of the Rings, which is like kind of the godfather of all fantasy, right? Like J.R.R. Tolkien invented basically the fantasy genre in many ways. Many people don't realize, who haven't read the 3 books, the first 3 books, is this third book, Return of the King. The second half of that book is all talking about the lineage of the characters. It literally, the story, and I was shocked that this happened, the story ends halfway through the book. And the rest of it is just talking about, and this is how, and Malachor and all this stuff. And it was cool. But I mean, to your point, the lineage, when you're talking about these big epic things.
And you're fighting for the throne.
It's important,
right.
yes. Yeah. And also, by the way, that's true with mafia movies too. It's like, you need to know, in Goodfellas, like you need to know Robert De Niro's character, he is the way he is because he'll never be a made man. So you need to know why he's not a made man and who is a made man. Sopranos, great example. It only, if somebody dies, it only matters because of their relationship to other characters.
Right.
Adriana, it only matters if she's going to die or not because we know who she is to Christopher, who she is to Tony, and how she operates in the larger world. So, yeah, it's that stuff is really important. So, yeah, I think adding like a little piece of juice, a little drop of juice for Game of Thrones would be pause the screen so we could see and show that family tree and the lineage, and then also show us the map.
Right.
Show us the map. Where if we pause,
like they're at
show us the map. Yeah.
Where is that in relation to Rook's Nest or
by
whatever?
The way, that was a great question. I didn't know why everybody loved Harrenhal. Like, why does everybody fight over Harrenhal? It has to be like an important trade route or something, or a port.
I think it's on the way to Winterfell.
Yeah, but like, who gives a shit? We don't even know.
It's also a destroyed castle.
Right. So what? Yeah, exactly.
And it's haunted.
And it's
yeah.
So, but also, can I just say, putting some death metal in Game of Thrones would be awesome. Absolutely awesome. So talking about juice, well, one of my favorite shows and one of everybody's favorite shows, it got 19 Emmy nominations, is Widow's Bay. Matthew Rhys is brilliant as Tom Loftus, the mayor of a cursed seaside town that he is trying to make the new Martha's Vineyard, trying to make it a tourist stop. And it is just full of crazy lore and creatures and all this other stuff. And Katie O'Flynn, by the way, who plays Patricia, his kind of right-hand woman, she's so neurotic and a nerd and a goofball. Maybe my favorite character in the last 5 years of anything. I mean, she's so good. And Stephen Root, of course, who's amazing as Wick, and he's amazing in everything. Also got to give a shout out to Dale Dickey, who plays Rosemary, who also got an Emmy nomination. Great. This is a minor spoiler, but there's a great scene where Patricia has been she throws this big party, and it turns out instead of wearing a tiara, she's been wearing this cursed headdress. And she's like, turns to Rosemary and goes, "Why didn't you say anything?" And Rosemary's like, "You told me to be supportive." It's just great. Anyway, Widow's Bay, one of my favorite shows. and I just love comedy and horror. And I think a little bit of juice that this show could use, talking about context and talking about lore, is I would just love to see, I mean, like a news ticker at the bottom, or maybe that's a too distracting, or like start or end the episode with some stuff that's happened on the island before we see it.
Okay.
Because every time they allude to lore in the show, it's so kind of a glancing blow, and it's so interesting. And a lot of people, it was kind of a meme in the season finale. Matthew Rhys's character is sitting with this old woman, I can't remember her name, who's so great. I think her name is Ruth on the show. She's a fantastic actress. She's like 93 in real life. And she's kind of going through her old photos and talking about all her old lovers and boyfriends. And there's this throwaway line. She goes, oh, yes, Nicholas, I remember him. He got bit by an animal and then turned into that animal, and then just keeps going. And you're like, what? Wait, what? He got bit by an animal and then turned into that animal? Tell me more about that. So I think some juice that would make Widow's Bay better is some lore about the show, either kind of ending with a mini Ken Burns documentary every episode, like 30 seconds on like a news story that happened, or starting the show. I mean, something like that I think would be really, really cool. We do get a little bit of that juice in the season premiere when they go into the kind of town museum, and you see, this reporter is asking Matthew Rhys's character, like, hey, I heard there was what about the stories about cannibalism? He goes, oh, there's no cannibalism. And then they widen out to see they're standing in front of a giant blown up front page paper that says cannibalism in Widow's Bay. So stuff like that. I think that I'd like to see a little more juice of some historical stuff in Widow's Bay.
All right, that's fascinating, because now my mind jumps to two shows that I've got kind of mixed feelings on, in the sense that I think the storyline is there. I think I want to love these two shows. Okay. I'm not quite there yet. And that would be Severance and Pluribus.
Right. Now, Severance, I will say Severance already has a lot of juice, because if we're talking about like,
but there's so much, it's got a lot of juice.
Because, and I would say one of the examples of juice, sorry to interrupt, one of the examples of juice in Severance is the color palette, the symmetry of the shots. Ben Stiller, genius director, and just the way he frames the shots adds so much to that show and really bring you into that world.
And it's part, and maybe it's all by design, but I feel we're 2 seasons in? 2 seasons in. Once again, there's been a large gap between the 2 seasons.
I didn't see season 2.
But I still don't really know what's going on. And so I don't have enough background. Right. I'm at the tipping point where I feel like I don't know enough to like want to continue with it. But like I recognize it's really good.
Right.
And so that's the part of it's frustrating me. And maybe it's just like all kudos to Ben Stiller for creating that type of feeling in me watching the show. But I'm like, there's more, like, give me more.
So the juice you want is just explanation.
I need more explanation. Like, it's such a fascinating concept.
Just tell me what the fuck's going
on. But like,
on.
I need, and whether it's like, maybe that's ultimately like progression of the storyline. So it's not really juice, but
I wouldn't call it juice.
It's something there that I want more from this show.
I wouldn't call it juice, but I will say, we talked about Lost last week, and Lost, for all of its flaws, right? It did do a good job of keeping people hooked. It didn't do a great job of explaining things eventually, but it did do a good job of riding that line. Because look, I mean, and we've talked about this before on this show, like mysteries are hard. Mysteries are hard because you want the show to be exciting. So you don't want to tell people too much, right? Because you want it to be mysterious. But also, you don't want the audience to get ahead of the story because they're like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. But also, you got to give them something so they keep coming back, and you got to give them a little, And yeah, I think that Severance doesn't, it's the balance is off. I see it falling into the lost trap of we just put a bunch of weird shit in there. And, like the whole thing in the first season with the weird lambs. And they had some fun lore of like this department fought this department. Like there's cool stuff, but it's just, for me, I didn't need to see another season of it. And I watched the season premiere of season 2 and I know everyone says it's really great, but when they lost me when they chose to go back in. I was like, I'm out for this because you spend an entire season trying to get out and you get out and then you're like, why would you ever go back in? And same thing, by the way, with The Bear. The Bear lost me too. I got really angry. First season of The Bear, fantastic. And they're just trying to make this restaurant work. They're trying to make it work. And then a big thing happens at the end of season 1 where all of a sudden they have the ability to make this great restaurant. Season premiere of season 2, well, none of that mattered. The restaurant's in the shitter. And now they're taking 9 steps back. And I'm like, no, I'm out for this. I wanted to see them win. I know they eventually win, but I was like, no. No, I want to see them. I've spent an entire season with these guys. I want to see them. And yeah, they lost me. And so, yeah, Severance lost me too. How would you upscale Severance other than explaining more?
I mean, that's the thing. It's shot beautifully. The dialogue is fun. The cinematography is really, really good. And so that's the part where I'm going to stick with, I rarely, if ever, give up with shows. I've given up on like one show.
What was the show?
Ted Lasso.
Why'd you give up?
I just thought it was like too good to be true. And it's just like, I was just like.
You couldn't suspend disbelief.
It was like, I know like Coach Lasso has like personal issues going on, but it was like, everything was like honky dory. And I was just like,
my life sucks and all life has to suck.
Yeah. So that's really like the only show I've given up on.
Fair enough.
I'll probably watch the new season when it comes out, but like I didn't finish the last one, and that's like the only show that's ever happened with for me. But it's gonna be because I think there's so much there with Severance. Like it looks great, it sounds great, the storyline and theories about it are really interesting. That I think it could be like the perfect show if it just happened quicker.
Interesting.
And now I'm in that same boat with like Pluribus. I think it's a great premise.
Yeah,
I love like it echoes, of course, because it's Gilligan of like Breaking Bad with like shooting in the Albuquerque, Santa Fe, New Mexico area. So like it looks beautiful. Once again, like it's a really cool premise. But like I saw a story last week that was like it's taking Gilligan longer to write season 2 than anticipated. I'm like, oh man, are you going to lose me? Because it's going to be 3 years and I'll never get to the end of what this mystery, like the mysterious like DNA alien coding is that's like switching these people and allowed 13 people to not be switched over. And like, it's really, I love the premise, but it's once again, maybe it doesn't need juice. It just needs to happen quicker.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too. I think that pacing is a huge thing. And going back to video games, pacing can be a really big problem because, a show is, let's say the show is 10 episodes. That's 10 hours, right? A game can be 40 hours. And, a game is 4 seasons of a TV show. And so the best video games have done a really good job of pacing. And especially when you need to teach someone how to play the game. You don't need to teach someone how to watch a show.
Well, that's where,
and so I do think TV creators should play more video games because game devs have really figured out a lot of these issues and problems on pacing, on how to engage people, on mystery, how much mystery to give versus how to show, not tell, all this stuff. I think Hollywood could learn a lot from games.
Well, that's where I would be fascinated to get your take on a video game and TV show Fallout.
Yeah, Fallout is done well. I saw the first season. I liked it. But
the video game's more engaging than the TV show, right?
It's an interesting take because it's an interesting challenge because the game is an open world game, so the story is very minimal in the game, and because it's really kind of you're going and making your own experiences. There's a lot of side quests you can do. And there's kind of an overarching story that doesn't, you don't really care about. So I think that in terms of coming up with a TV show, it was the kind of the perfect thing because they could kind of create the story they wanted and use the world that was already created. So they already had this great buffet, if you will, and they just were like, oh, I'm going to put this on the plate and this on the plate. We're going to put this here. And I think that's why it's kind of been so successful. Something like The Last of Us is much more difficult because counterintuitively more difficult because The Last of Us 1 and 2, which I see as perfect games, tell a story that is a very difficult story, deals with a lot of big issues, but it tells a story, and that story is pretty specific. And it's much harder. You have a lot less room to maneuver, and you have a lot more fans of the game saying, that's not right, that's different. Whereas like in Fallout, you can't really say that's different or that's not because it's not really, the story is kind of, they're making kind of a new story. So all that to say, I think that game adaptations or adaptations of anything are always kind of difficult. But I liked Fallout a lot. I also like Last of Us. I just think it's a harder hill to climb there because the game is so specific. But going back to Pluribus and Juice, here's a pitch for you. How about some juice to make Pluribus a little bit better? Add a cartel.
I love it. I'm in. You can't go wrong adding a cartel.
I think you could add a cartel to almost any show or movie and it would improve it. I really do. I mean, first of all, Sicario is great. I love cartel stuff, like in shows and movies and stuff. And I know you love Taylor Sheridan. He loves putting cartels and stuff.
I mean, I'm trying to think of, so I've recently watched the new season of Lincoln Lawyer, has a cartel.
Great.
The Night Agent has a cartel.
Oh my God.
Landman has a cartel. Mayor of Kingstown has a cartel. Lioness has a cartel. I mean,
you love the CCU, the Cartel Cinematic Universe.
It's an incredible universe, and you're not wrong.
There you go.
There's just
put a cartel in Pluribus.
It's mysterious. Like
it is.
If the cartel was unaffected by the virus, perfect.
There you go.
Why because they make heroin? Are they are no longer able to be switched over?
Yeah, maybe heroin is what stops the Pluribus virus. Who knows?
I love it.
There you go.
I'm in.
Another show that I love that I think we could make better with a little bit of juice, The Pit. And here's how I would do it. The Pit is already so intense, right? And every second counts. In The Pit, every episode takes place in real time. So the whole season takes place over 24 hours or 12 hours. 12, 24? 12. 12.
Okay.
Right?
But it's not like a clocking, it's not like a ticking clock like 24, right?
That's what I think we should add.
Oh.
I think we should add in the corner a ticking clock, right?
Yes.
And it can either count up or it could count down, dude. And then you get, oh my God, there's only X amount of minutes left. What's going to happen in this episode? Chuck Palahniuk, who wrote Fight Club, wrote a book called, I think, Survivor, where the pages, he goes, I die at the end of this book, or I die, whatever, and the pages count down instead of counting up. And it was actually really cool. Because I was like, oh my God, I have 100 pages left. Oh my God, I have 80 pages. Oh my God, 20 pages. Oh my God, 3 pages. And it really added a lot.
I mean, I really did like that movie. It's now escaping me the name of it, where you have the amount of time left to live
time.
Yeah,
with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, I thought that was a great. And it's like, what do I do? What do I need to do to get more minutes added to my life cycle?
It was a cool You know what would be great? That's a movie that I didn't love, but I love that idea and I love that world, and I think that would make a great TV show. Being in that world where, because dude, right now, I was just about to say, like, capitalism is so hot, but like, everybody is, to gas is $1 million a gallon, that everything's expensive, the world's imploding, climate, the oceans are rising. It's taking years to get a new season of my favorite show, which is really the biggest problem I have. But, I think that a TV show set in that world where you're paid in extra minutes of life is so dystopian and dark. And I think it would, and it's so like, insane billionaires, and just, I think it would be and you've got all these guys who are trying to like biohack and life max themselves, and build like these doomsday bunkers. I just feel like a TV show based in the world of In Time. Wouldn't that be great? I would watch that in a second, dude. In a second. We're saving Hollywood, dude. This is a brilliant show idea.
You saw Backrooms, right?
I saw Backrooms.
You thought it was pretty good?
I thought it was. I'm going to say this.
Does that movie have juice? And what would you do? Because they're going to make a TV show out of it. What would you do to elevate it?
They're going to make a TV show out of it?
Yeah. I think that's where he wants to go with it.
Why? They made a great YouTube series.
Well, can you just make that into, what's the difference between like YouTube and TV now?
Nothing.
Right. So
I think there's better shit on YouTube. That's the difference.
But like upscale Backrooms for TV for me.
Very quickly, my issue with, did you see Backrooms?
I have not seen it.
It's worth seeing. It's great. Kane Parsons, 20 years old, made this incredible, to make a movie at 20. I was still in diapers at 20. I'm still in diapers now. By choice. It's just easy. Dude, you got to go all the way down the hall to the bathroom.
All right.
Come on,
dude. You have been in the studio for a couple hours.
I carry my bathroom with me, dude. Any place is a bathroom for me.
One way to put it.
But truly an achievement. Everybody's great in it. And I think that what he did in the YouTube series was more powerful because it was point of view. And that, to me, was the whole difference. You are the POV, when it's a first-person POV, and you're stuck in this crazy world, you're wandering around, and you're looking around, that was really scary. The movie starts off like that, and it's very powerful and great. I think it's kind of a hard trick to translate to, now I'm watching someone, right? Okay. Because it's less immediate. It's not me, I'm watching someone else, okay? A little less scary. That's okay, though. There's a lot of scary movies out there. What I didn't really love about Backrooms was the movie was, on the one hand, you could escape it. He can go in and out of it. That, to me, really broke the scariness of it. Because part of what scared me about the Backrooms is, in the original video, this guy kind of no-clips. Do you know what no-clip is? No. It's like in a video game going through the wall or something. Okay. It's two objects merging. He kind of falls through the world and ends up in this weird place. And he doesn't know how he gets in there or how to get out. And that, to me, was really scary. In the movie, he finds a portal he can go in and out of. That kind of deflated it a bit. And then the other thing was, it kind of made it, it explained it a little too much.
Interesting, because that's what... I want more explanation for pluribus or severance.
Yeah, and so maybe you would really dig it. But for me, what really killed it was being able to leave. Okay. That kind of, being trapped in the Backrooms to me was the scary part about that. But yeah, it kind of explained it a little bit about what it was, which I was like, okay, whatever. Just shout out, everybody should be reading more books. Great book called Piranesi by Susanna Clark. A little Backrooms-ish in terms of, it's a fantasy book, not a horror book. Beautiful book. I cried at the end. One of my favorite endings of anything ever. But I could see you zoning out. Let's just look at him on YouTube. I caught that on camera. I started talking about a book.
Reading.
I literally, it was so funny. I'm going to do an instant replay of that on YouTube. When I started talking about a book, you did this thing. You did this thing where you were like, your head went down,
don't make me
and you
breathe.
were about to fall asleep, and you started to adjust your hat over your eyes. You were and it was totally real. That was so funny.
I got it.
Anyway, Piranesi is a great book about a guy trapped in a world, and we don't know where he is or what he is. And the trapped part is what to me was great about that. But Backrooms, it's definitely worth seeing.
Can you juice it up?
You can juice it up. First of all, make him trapped in there. Second of all, first person. Those two things are really gonna help.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's more visceral when you're in the shoes of the thing. I mean, Backrooms did have a lot of juice. I mean, the sound design was great. The set design was really great. You started getting into all these crazy worlds and mishmash. And, I know he designed a lot and filmed a lot of it in Blender, which is like a program to make 3D objects and that stuff. So it has this unreal look, which is really cool.
And I know we've talked about, we both love slow horses, but
Yes.
all of the
A lot of juice in Slow Horses.
Right.
Like Gary Oldman's eating noises,
body noises. Yeah.
like every desk is messy. I think another easy way to give shows more juice is great art direction, great set design. And the people who do that do not get enough credit, because really art direction, set design are putting us in those worlds.
And it's such a drastic difference between Slow House and then when they go to like
That's
headquarters.
That's
and like
right.
clean,
Yes.
neat,
Yes.
technologically advanced.
Yes.
And like you're lucky if you have a working
That's
phone in Slow House.
That's right. Also, the lighting is fantastic. Like, it's dark and it feels just
Well, and that's one, and to piggyback on that, Taylor Sheridan, Mayor of Kingstown, the Jeremy Renner show that's on Paramount, the lighting for that show, it takes place in like Western Pennsylvania in a prison town, manufacturing, and they've got this blue tint on everything. It's always gray. Like all the prison shots are amazing, and like, I mean, they're using like what looks like actual prison sets for the show. And so it just adds to what I think is a really fun and interesting storyline, because you've got this like dreary manufacturing coal prison town. And it's like reflected in something as small as like the color choice grading on the video.
Yes, but the small stuff is what matters. Like, and I think what we're kind of coming to, and what we're kind of beating around the bush about, is the devil's in the details. And what makes a great show is the details. And, you know, like going back to my the original thing we were talking about, my first example that I want to have happen is death metal in Game of Thrones. You know, the show The Nick, Steven Soderbergh, Clive Owen, takes place in like a hospital in like the 20s or 1800s, and uses EDM music. And this weird, different music really adds a lot to the show. And that's really cool.
Interesting, because that makes me immediately think, did you watch Westworld?
I saw the first 2 seasons, yeah.
Because throughout it, they play modern rock music on that saloon piano. And I loved it. I think it was like, some people are like, wait, so are you playing like Welcome to the Jungle right now in like the old timey saloon piano? But like, I thought that was just a really fun, I love that show. I wish it had kept going. Unfortunately, like kind of got lost in the sauce, it feels like.
Yeah.
But that little added element of like, oh, we're playing modern music in the old time saloon piano, I thought was just like a fun cherry on top to like a very ambitious show to begin with.
And I don't know if Jonathan Nolan took that from this game BioShock Infinite, which came out many years before. Troy Baker, by the way, one of the greatest voice actors of all time, is, you know, BioShock Infinite is the third in a series of games, of BioShock games, which, by the way, they should make a BioShock show because it's great. But BioShock Infinite is there's moments where these twins are singing. You know, it takes place like in an alternate version of the 20s or 30s in a flying city, right? Like, what if this flying city existed in America? And it turns out it's like, you know, a perfect city, but it's super racist. It's, you know, super classist and all this other stuff. And very early on, you start hearing, like, just like you're saying, songs in old-timey music, but new songs. And it kind of, it really is this nice little, it kind of seeds the ground for what happens later, which is a whole multiverse thing and different versions of the world and different timelines and stuff. But it starts to allude to that with this music very early on. And I was like, that's some juice, dude. That is some great juice. Really, really cool. By the way, another great example of juice in games is like idle animation, when you just let your character and they'll kind of move around or whatever. And one of the cool animations is in BioShock, part of the thing is you have these tonics, and that gives you superpowers. And so one hand will hold your gun or your weapon. The other hand will like be a tonic. And there's one you can get where you just throw bees at people. It's my favorite thing of all time. And I would just scream, the bees, you know. But when you load up that tonic in your hand, part of your hand turns into a beehive. And so every once in a while in the game, you'll just hold your hand up and bees will be crawling all over it. Dude, it's so sick. That game is great. But yeah, I love that. I love that Westworld playing that other stuff. Those little Easter eggs, man, matter. I also love when, I think a great example of Juice that I'd like to see more is when creators put Easter eggs of their shows in other shows. That's really cool. Like to combine universes, you know, or in movies when they do that, like, you know, when they, in the Star Wars, one of the Star Wars movies, you see an E.T. in the Senate. Like, I love that shit. That stuff is juice, baby. Give me that juice.
Yeah, I think I'm very much stuck in the Frozen world right now. And I think during the wedding, there are other Disney characters that come to the coronation. I think there are other characters from Disney that come to the coronation of Elsa.
That's juice. Like I think, listen, man, in Pluribus, if he doesn't at some point show a pizza on a roof, they've missed the mark.
True.
They got to do that. They got to put a pizza on the roof.
Well, I think you just solved Hollywood.
Solved it and saved it. That's what we do here, man. We save Hollywood. Yeah, I do think Juice is really kind of what makes it great to be a fan. You know, again, Lost was great at Juice. When you would see, you know, fans would talk about, oh, you know, this thing, and then they would do it on the show. You know, like, oh, did you see, you know, I wonder if, you know, the Dharma logo is going to be on an animal, and then you would see it on like Shark's Tail, and you're like, they listen, that's Juice. Yeah. And we really have the ability now. You know, creators are so spoiled because they have the ability to read what people are saying. And I know that, you know, a lot of creators get upset because, or nervous about looking at comments on the internet. But I think comments on the internet are great. It's amazing. You can interact with people and hear what they say. And generally, I think it's cool that people can voice their opinions on that.
100%.
And on that note, you can leave us a comment on our YouTube videos, including this one on Team Coco's YouTube page. Check it out. And of course, give us a call at any time, 855-266-2604. Let us know what juice you love or you want to see. And once again, check out Juice It or Lose It, that talk on YouTube. It's incredibly cool. Whether you